Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow stewards of risk. It is a privilege for me to stand before you this morning. At the heart of the industry conversations, we are gathered as experts, innovators, and leaders. But above that, we are gathered as underwriters and custodians of a promise. The promise we make to our policyholders is profound, that when the unforeseen, unfortunate event happens, we will be there to make it whole again. Therefore, today I want to talk to you about the bedrock of that promise, the foundation upon which trust, profitability, and our very own relevance is built. The theme for this masterclass, it is the non-negotiable, unwavering commitment to maintaining high underwriting standards for property, insurance, risk underwriting, and loss adjustment. In an era of evolving technological changes, fluctuating markets, and increasingly volatile climates, it is tempting to chase growth, to automate processes, and to compete on prices. We've seen a lot of companies that actually compete on prices. But in this rush, we must never lose sight of our core principles that define sound insurance. The art and science of underwriting, paired with the integrity of loss adjustment, are not relics of bygone age. They are our compass in the storm. Let us therefore first consider the front line, which is risk underwriting. Underwriting is not a bureaucratic hurdle. It is the primary engine of value creation. It is the disciplined process of selecting, pricing, and structuring risk. High underwriting standards mean moving beyond simply filling a portfolio. They mean, number one, first, deep granular risk assessment. Today, high standards demand that we leverage technology for deeper insight. We must use geospatial mapping to understand floodplains, for example, and wildfire perimeters. Use Internet of Things sensors to monitor commercial properties in real time, and sophisticated modeling to stress test portfolios against a range of catastrophic scenarios. But technology must inform human judgment and not replace it. There is no algorithm that can replace the seasoned eye of an underwriter who is walking through a property, understanding the quality of construction, the integrity of management, and the nuisance of human behavior that contributes to risk. Secondly, intelligent pricing adequacy. Maintaining high standards means that we must have courage to walk away from mispriced risk. It means understanding the true cost of capital and the full spectrum of potential losses. It is a mathematical truth that underpricing today, for sure, guarantees insolvency tomorrow. Our responsibility is not just to our shareholders for a quarterly return, but to every policyholder in our portfolio, ensuring that the collective premium is sufficient to pay all future claims. Number three, the power of the word. I think we have been accused as underwriters, insurance people, that of the kind of policy wordings that we have. I don't know how your country is, but in Kenya, some of the laws that have been passed is that you cannot have those small, writings that we cannot read. So the policy wording is the contract. In the policy wording, it is our obligation. The policy wording is actually our obligation to the customer. High underwriting standards demand clarity, precision, and fairness, and ambiguity is the seed of dispute. We must therefore ensure that what we intend to cover, and most importantly, what we do not intend to cover, is outlined explicitly to our clients to avoid creating loopholes. It is about creating certainty for our customers and for ourselves. A well-written policy is the first and best step towards fair and efficient claims process. But our commitment cannot end at the point of sale. The promise is only fulfilled at the point of truth, the claim. We exist to pay claims. And this is where then loss adjustment becomes critical counterpart of underwriting. Loss adjustment is the execution of the promise that we have made to the client. It is where theory meets reality and where our reputation is actually really tested. High standards in loss adjustments are characterized by number one, the pursuit of equity and empathy. When you complete a claim, it's usually at your worst moment, either as an individual or a corporate organization. Perhaps your building has been burnt down. And therefore, our loss adjusters, they are not just assessing damage, they are restoring livelihoods. High standards mean training our adjusters to be not only technically proficient, but also empathetic in their communication. And I'm really happy to see your companies, your employers have allowed you to be here today. It means deploying resources swiftly, communicating the process clearly, and treating the insured with respect and dignity. So when we go through a fair claim settlement process, it is the ultimate expression of that commitment that we had made in the policy wording. Now, the other thing is in terms of technical rigor and investigative integrity. As a loss adjuster, the loss adjuster's report is the factual foundation of the claim. High standards then will demand meticulous evidence-based approach. This means we go through the investigations to determine the cause and the origin of the loss, the precise quantification of damage using modern tools like drones and estimating softwares, and a vigilant eye for potential fraud. This rigor protects the integrity of the pool for all the honest policy holders. It also provides invaluable data feedback to our underwriters. Every claim should be and is a lesson. A well-documented loss adjustment tells us where our models were right, where they were wrong, and what risk perhaps that we could be mispricing. And this therefore brings me to what I would call the most critical point of it all, what I would call the sacred feedback loop. Underwriting and loss adjustment cannot exist in separate ways. They are continuous symbiotic cycle. The loss adjuster on the ground is the underwriter's eye and ears after the event. When an adjuster sees a specific type of root failure in a hailstorm or chronic water damage from a commonly used but faulty appliance, that intelligence, we must ensure that it flows directly back to the underwriting team. High standards are maintained not just by static rules, but by this dynamic flow of information. It allows underwriters to refine risk selection, adjust pricing models, and clarify policy languages for the future. A company that fails to connect these two functions is like your own brain when it has disconnected from its senses. You will not be able to learn, you cannot adapt, and what will happen is that you will eventually shut down and fail and crash. We all know the headwinds climate change creating unprecedented losses, economic inflation distorting repair costs, and a complex regulatory landscape in which we operate in. In this environment, relaxing standards is a path to certain failure. It is precisely in these challenging times that our discipline must be the strongest. So then how do we make sure that we maintain these standards? Number one is that we must invest in talent. As employees, as employers, we must make sure that we are able to attract, retain, and train the best underwriters and adjusters. And like I have already said, I'm happy to see that your employers have, given you this time to some of you 4 days, depending on where you're coming from, just to upskill on yourselves. But it also means that you also need to work with mentors and mentorship programs so that as you empower other people, you also get to learn along the way. Number two is that we must embrace technology. Technology is an enhancer and it is not a replacement. So let us use the AI tools that are available to spot trends and see where we need to improve on. Number three, foster a culture of discipline. We need to ensure that from where we sit at the front lines, whether you're an underwriter, you're a technical manager, you're the head of a department, but we need to ensure that we have or champion a culture that values long-term stability and not short-term gains. We must therefore ensure that we reward technical excellence and ethical courage. I think the MC mentioned that we are struggling with professionalism in our industry. And I think once we are able to reward people for doing what they need to do, doing it right, we'll be able to at least improve on that. Then close the loop. So closing the loop basically means that we must be able to get feedback from the claims department, and this feedback must be integrated into our underwriting policies, and it must be non-negotiable. In conclusion, maintaining high underwriting standards is not an act of conservatism, it is an act of leadership. It is a commitment to the future of our industry and to the people who are actually depending on us. It is the understanding that our business is not merely about transferring risk for a fee, but about managing it with expertise, integrity, and profound sense of duties. Let us be the underwriters who know the value of what they are accepting, and the adjusters who honored the promise that was made. For in doing so, we do not just protect our balance sheets, we uphold a covenant of trust that is the true and lasting legacy of our profession. And we'll have our children saying that they want to be like us and they want to work in this industry that we are working on. Thank you.